Hey everyone, David here, and welcome to another Arcadian Rift devlog. It's going to be a bit of a shorter devlog this month, as I've been extremely busy getting ready for my move to a new apartment in a few days, and I was gone most of the month on 2 separate trips. Despite all this, I still got some cool stuff to show that I think you'll enjoy. If you want to learn how to develop your own games, you may be interested in the new course by this video's sponsor, Jason Wyman. Jason has been offering many courses which teach everything you need to know to use the Unity game engine, and he just recently released a new course on game architecture. This course will teach you all the essentials to successfully build a large-scale game through the process of building your own full-scale RPG. You'll learn things like inventory, crafting, stats, quest systems, customizable AI, character leveling, progression, and a whole lot more. And once you pass all the quizzes, you'll even get a certificate to prove that you're able to do the work and get the job done. Throughout the course, you'll have direct access to Jason in case you have any questions, along with access to a Discord server with tons of fellow game developers. There'll even be live Q&A calls every week. The Unity game architecture course is available now, and he's also offering a full path bundle which includes all his other courses alongside the new game architecture course for just the price of one. So definitely make sure to check out the new course and get all of Jason's courses for the price of just one with the full path bundle in the description below. Working on Arcadian Rift this month, the first step was doing the monthly bug fixing, polish, and changelog in order to release the next alpha build. Once again, there's a huge list of improvements all posted on our Discord. And before I continue any further, I should mention that a lot of this devlog is going to contain some story details for Arcadian Rift. I won't reveal anything major, but if you want to go into the game and have just an absolutely fresh experience, I wouldn't recommend probably watching the rest of this devlog. So when we updated the story details a few months ago, I never really elaborated on what actually changed. I don't want to go super into details for various reasons. Instead, I'll just give a summary that the story now revolves more around the idea that artificial intelligences have become commonplace in this future society, yet there's still regulations and fears that prevent AI from creating more AI due to the potential of like a singularity. So this ties way better in with the themes of the story and moments you have with your AI companion who will be on your ship. And then despite these rules against AI creating more AI, there was one in the Arcadian system who did manage to create 4 new AI, and this is what caused like the panic and evacuation and the sector to go dark. And now this all directly ties into the game. So the goal is to hunt down and we'll track these 4 rogue AI before they can accomplish anything or self-replicate even further. You're still a pirate in a lawless system, but you have a nice kind of progression of gameplay and story now with consistent boss battles throughout. Obviously there's more to it than that, but that's as much as I want to give as far as not going into spoilery territory, but now you've got like a nice clear thing going on. So with all that in mind, this month I wanted to get into finalizing the art for the first story mission, which I can now say is the actual location of the first of the 4 rogue AIs. My goal here was to have a complete vertical slice of finished gameplay in order to really test and optimize. First up was figuring out the floor and wall materials. I did a bunch of experiments in Blender first, creating sketches on what I wanted the final look of the place to be. The idea that it was created by an AI allowed me to go for a much more simplified yet sci-fi look, which allowed the creation of these levels to be way more manageable. This was part of the reason we adjusted the story in the first place. I tried different grid and cube-like approaches with glowing trim to help guide the player and navigate, and eventually found a design I was happy with. I then had to spend some serious time getting everything I created in Blender to look as good in Unreal. Luckily, I was also able to create a triplanar material, which was able to immediately map and tile correctly on all my geometry with no additional work required. After adding the trim, this is what some of the first kind of updated areas looked like. I then had to recreate all the temp assets I made last month to fit the new art style. The cell spawners and receivers had to be modeled and set up. I gave the energy cells a particle system to make them a bit more visually appealing. One I was really happy with was the new doors. I created a grid of cubes that slowly animated like a kind of wave thing, giving it a very sci-fi feel. Opening the door causes all the cubes to animate outwards. And going along with this idea, I had to update all the loot, ammo, and health crates, and the result I came up with was similar to the door, by having the crate actually dematerialize completely. I played around with the idea in Blender before translating it into Unreal and adding a particle system, which I have to say is super satisfying. When I got to laying out the level for the end of the mission, I had a really cool central heart of the facility where the boss AI would be, and I liked the look of it, but every time I kept adding the bridge to it, it kind of ruined the cinematic view. My solution was to make this bridge not actually exist until you approach it, and then it kind of materializes. That way you can get a good view but still have the bridge. This resulted in designing some bridge materializing effect, which I actually got lazy with and did a really cheap trick for, but I think it actually turned out looking awesome anyway. While doing all this, I was constantly adjusting the lighting and atmosphere of the interior. This was something that just gradually changed throughout the month, with a lot of little tweaks and improvements that I don't really have all recorded, but I think now is a good time, however, just to show a bit of fly-throughs on the area and kind of compare things to how they looked in the original block out, just to see how much more interesting this place looks now. One last thing I did this month was add the little flash effect for when the player soft respawns, so the respawn isn't just quite as jarring. This is essentially exactly what's done in games like BioShock Infinite, which was one of the games that gave me the idea for the soft respawn. However, that wasn't all that was done this month. I brought on 2 concept artists recently that have been hard at work creating more concepts. Kurt was in charge of designing the rogue AIs and finished the design for the first boss, the scorpion-looking robot thing. A lot of work went into creating the design with different shapes, components, perspectives, colors, and a whole lot more. He's also begun working on the second AI recently, which is more like a slower, heavily armored turtle kind of thing. Frizzle at the same time was drawing up the layout for the space station, which the player will visit to buy and sell commodities. This also took a lot of brainstorming, sketching tons of different layout ideas, arrangements, and shapes, before finally coming up with one that fit everything we needed and seemed to be fun for the player to navigate. And that's all for now. I'm going to be very busy with my move in just a few days, as I'm driving literally 2,000 miles and having set up all my stuff again at the new apartment, but I'll hopefully have some stuff to show again next month. Also, keep an eye on this channel if you want to see me do live streams of Subnautica Below Zero. I streamed the first game on this channel when I played it a few years ago and I had a lot of fun, so the plan was always to stream the second one here as well. Also, don't forget to check out Jason's new Unity Game Architecture course and get all of his courses for the price of just one with the Full Path bundle in the description below. See you all next month.